Hi, this is Chris, Video Game Dust Sleeves, and you're listening to the VGDS podcast with Bandana Gamer,
What up?
Bones06, Bones,
Yo.
DanCavDragon,
Hello, everyone.
DizzyTheGamerJit,
Yay!
and guest gamers, ChrisGames,
Yay!
MT Shark 7,
Hey everyone.
Owazrim,
Howdy.
and TheBargainBinHobo.
It's time to hobo up!
First segment, sleeve it or leave it. As per the norm, first game is elements to the new batch for the NES, Bandana. Sleeve it or leave it.
Nah, leave it.
Bones,
That's a tough one. I'm kind of feeling torn to say sleeve it, but I'm gonna skip it.
Chris,
I'm down to pour some water on it. Just leave it.
Dan,
I don't know much about this game. I would leave it, I guess.
Dizzy,
Alternate cover with Greta the female gremlin with the lips 3D popped out.
That's actually definitely doable.
Be
I'd
funny.
be down.
Yeah.
I can definitely do
about
that, yeah. Mark,
Yeah, let's leave it.
Owas,
Leave it.
Bargain Bin.
Let's leave it.
Next game, Battle Chess for the NES, Bandana. Sleeve it or leave it.
I'd say that. I have some nostalgic memories that make me really happy tied to that game.
Bones,
No.
Chris,
Negative Ghost Rider.
DanCav,
Yeah, I'll pass on this one too.
Dizzy,
We doing board games now? No, I'm leaving that one.
MT Shark,
Yeah, I'd skip this one.
Owas,
I'd just leave it.
Bargain Bin.
Leave it.
Next title, Wario Land for Virtual Boy, Bandana.
Oh, of course, that was the best Wario Land game by far.
Bones,
I know I'm gonna probably get scrutinized for it, but I'm gonna say no. I don't collect Virtual Boy, so no.
Sucks to be you.
Chris,
I'm going to say no as well, just because I don't collect for it either.
Dan,
Yeah, no, this is definitely a good game to collect. So yes, leave this one.
Dizzy,
Actually, I also heard that this was one of the best Wario games, and virtual game. Yeah, I would leave it.
MT Shark,
Yeah, let's leave it. This game's pretty good.
Owas,
I'd pass on the headaches and not sleeve it.
Hobo.
I'm gonna emulate in black and white, and then I'm gonna sleeve it.
There you go.
Oh,
Wait a
man.
minute. Can you trace my answer for that one?
Sure. Why not?
See, I don't have to buy these games because all you beautiful people, my friends, have them already. So I can just go to your place and play it. So I don't have to buy this game.
Come on over, Bones. You can watch my kids.
I wouldn't trust that.
And the last title, Assassin's Creed Bloodlines for PlayStation Portable. Bandana.
No, I don't sleeve PSP.
Even if it was loose?
Even if it was loose, I'd
Okay.
rather just have the disc all floppily woppily.
Okay. Bones.
Didn't need that.
Well, for me, I actually own this game, and I don't have it sleeved, but I don't even own a PSP to play the game. I got this from a thrift store, so I'm going to skip it.
Chris.
Well, I put my games in like a little sleeve already, so I'd sleeve it just to have it on my shelf.
Dan.
You brought up a good point. If you have this game loose, you probably could use a sleeve, but I wouldn't sleeve it otherwise.
Dizzy.
Nah, I'm not doing PSP. No.
MT. Shark.
I'm going with Dan's answer. If I had it loose, I'd sleeve it.
Owas.
I haven't played any of the Assassin's Creed games, so I'd just leave it.
And Hobo.
Well, I love the PSP, but I don't like Assassin's Creed, so leave it in the dust.
Next segment, guess that box art. Let's start with Bandana. Might as well just start from the top. Got a guess for the first image?
Of something with the Noid from Domino's.
Yeah.
Definitely. You're on the right track.
Avoid the Noid. Is that game? Oh, Yo Noid.
Yeah, Yo Noid. You got it. That was easy.
Man.
Next one.
Domino's advertising worked on me.
Yeah, I guess it did.
Stuck in your brain.
Next image, Bandana. Let's give it to you again.
It's a Tom and Jerry game.
Yes.
Past that, I don't know the Tom and Jerry games.
Okay. Bones.
I have a few Tom and Jerry games, but I don't know any of the names. One's like Whiskers, I think, but I don't know the actual names off the top of my head without cheating and looking.
All right, Chris. Got a guess?
Same, obviously. Tom and Jerry. It kind of reminds me of the NES cart that I have, but I don't remember the name to it.
It's definitely not an NES game. I'll give you the console N64.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then. Nope.
Dan.
No, it's aside from Tom and Jerry. I don't even know. I didn't know there was one on N64.
Dizzy.
Yeah. I don't know what the name is, though. Like I said, I could look it up in my phone, but I'm not going to cheat because I have it.
Is it something furry?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Dizzy, you
It's
got a
not-
guess? Okay, Beta. Go ahead.
Tom gives Jerry the kiss of death in a furry costume for the 64.
I know what it is.
Bandana, did you say what were you going to say?
Oh no, I was just like N64 wouldn't be like there was something like Tom and Jerry Fast and the Furious or something, and I was
Close,
like, no,
close.
N64 wouldn't be that. But I think Bargain Bin says he's got it.
It's the Fist of the Furry.
Yep, you got it. That's what it was.
Nice.
All right, Bones.
Hey.
Bones, take it away.
Okay, everyone, this month we have a new logo sleeve that I wasn't even aware of. I have not seen this one. This is a Tom and Lacey collecting dust sleeve from Do You Nerd. Which one? This is nice, man. I didn't know you made this.
Yeah, this
I'll
is
have to add this to the list of eventual dust sleeves to get now.
one of 3 that they have.
TLC, Tom and Lacey collect.
Man, very nice.
Where can I get one of those?
You can go just contact your local video game dust sleeve dealer, Chris. And,
Does this one have the sponge 3D pop out?
No, it does not.
That would be cool.
And Bones, what game should go in this sleeve?
Ooh. Barbie.
Barbie.
We're gonna go Barbie. Since it's always the game that haunts me, Barbie's gotta go in it.
Do you want me to send you my copy of Barbie?
No, you must have that at all times next to your Master Chief shrine.
No
If he doesn't
problem.
want it, I'll take it.
You want my Master Chief shrine?
No,
Oh.
keep that. I want the Barbie.
We need the Barbie
It
with
comes
that
with
with
Master
the
Chief.
ass 3D popped out.
I need the No Death Run Barbie on the NES. I've been challenged.
It only gets sent if you get the Master Chief collection.
I have it.
Chris, didn't Tom and Lacey have you like 3D pop an ass on one of their sleeves?
Yes. They did a video.
Internet to see if this was that one Disney.
They did a video on that, and it was, but I don't think I'm allowed to sell those. I have to talk to them again. They didn't really give me a straight answer on whether they wanted them out in public or not, so I cannot officially sell those ones. But yeah, there was a like a squishy butt on the sleeve, so like you can actually squish it. It was funny. Tom is the one that came to me with that.
If Tom can dream it, you can sleeve it.
That's damn straight. If anybody dreams it, I can sleep it probably. To an extent, obviously. But Dan, your turn, buddy.
Okay, franchise of the month, and after a series of like complex and complicated franchises, it's nice to get back to something small and simple. And this is Panzer Dragoon. It started on the Sega Saturn, so it's a little bit more of an obscure franchise, but it's made its way to more common consoles since then. So yeah, let's just go down the line. There's a few of us in here and see if you've actually ever played this series. And if not, that's fine. And then it's available on the Switch. So if you happen to play the remake or the re-release of this game, and Bandana is at the top. So let's start with him.
I started out that generation as a big Sega Saturn guy and loved everything they were putting out on it. And so when I got my Sega Saturn in 5th grade, it came with a demo disc for the first few levels of Panzer Dragoon, which is, I think, honestly kind of like the closest thing Sega ever put out to Star Fox. But I love it. I love that game. And I just, when Limited Run did the re-release for the Nintendo Switch, I got the Classic Edition, which is such a basic, it's just the Nintendo Switch game in padding in a Sega Saturn case. But yeah, it's a great series. I would love to have Panzer Dragoon Saga, but that's nearly $1,000 now, so that ain't happening. But yeah, Panzer Dragoon 2, Zue, and Panzer Dragoon Orta on the Xbox are all amazing rail shooters, and love the series.
And it holds up well on the Switch, you said?
Yeah, I've enjoyed playing through it and bouncing around on it, and just to go back to it, it looks really good. They did a really good job. I don't know if this is when you get into the hazy area of remake, remaster, port. Like, I think it's kind of in between a remake and a remaster. Yeah, some new assets here and there, so it's a great game. If you like rail shooters, if you like Star Fox, I would definitely recommend picking up Panzer Dragoon. I think it's fairly cheap digitally now.
Cool. And how about you, Bones? Any Panzer Dragoon in your past?
Well, this is going to be kind of funny considering I have so many games, but I do not own a single Panzer Dragoon on anything, for anything. So I've never played Panzer Dragoon. Heard all about it, always wanted to get it, but the Sega Saturn games have always been, like Bandana said, they're pricey. So I never bit the bullet and bought them. And now years later, they've more than like doubled, if not tripled. So, yeah, I don't know when I'm going to ever dabble in it. Maybe I'll get one for the OG Xbox because they were cheaper at the time when I was looking. If not, I'll just end up having to download it if I really want to play it or cough up the money. But yeah, mine's short and sweet. I haven't played them and I don't own them.
The world no longer makes sense to me.
Dun, dun, dun.
How about you, ChrisGames? Any Panzer Dragoon for you?
I never heard of this series until, like, one day I was just browsing Best Buy and I found the one for the Switch. It's still sealed. I just thought the cover was cool, but I never got around to playing it yet, so I don't know anything about it.
Well, yeah, it's worth opening and giving it a try, I think, if according to what Bandana said. Dizzy, how about yourself?
Keep this one short but sweet. Same way as Chris. I see this one at Walmart all the time on Switch. I haven't got it, but I definitely would get the Sega Saturn games, those three, if I found them for cheap. But I don't know too much about the game.
Give it a shot if you can. How about you, Empty Shark? I have a feeling you've played this before.
Yeah, I have all of them except Panzer Dragoon Saga. But they're fun games. I played them even way back when I first got my Sega Saturn. I'm not sure if I ever beaten them though. They're pretty challenging in the later levels, but I definitely enjoyed playing them. I did beat Panzer Dragoon Orta, which once you beat that, you can play the original game. which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's nice. I think I remember that, but I forgot. But until you mentioned it, so that's cool. How about the Switch? Did you say you had the Switch version?
Yeah, I haven't played it yet though.
All right. Oaz, how about you and Panzer Dragoon?
I haven't
It's a-
played Saga or the Switch release, but I've played the others, and I think I've beat both Panzer Dragoon and Panzer Dragoon Zwei. So, but they're really fun games. I think Bandana hit it pretty solidly. You know, if you like Star Fox, if you like on-rail shooters, they're solid games. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a good. Like before he said that, the first game that came to mind was Star Fox, and I was like, yeah, so that's a very good analogy there. So, good job, Bandana. All right, BargainBinHobo, what's your experience with this series?
Okay, so I think it's a safe assumption that I'm the youngest in this chat. I think I'm 27 years old, and this summer I just finally bought a Sega Saturn, and included with it was Panzer Dragoon. Now, I haven't played it very much, but I do have a lot of fondness for Star Fox, specifically Star Fox 64, because a lot of nostalgia watching my brother play it, and I'm planning on getting my Saturn modded and just get all the games on the SD card so I can just play them all and not have to shell out and take out a loan for all of them. But I played briefly. And I can say that I would like to get back in there and play again once my time opens up a little more, if that ever happens.
All right, congratulations on getting Saturn, and yeah, good. Glad you got at least the game, the original game on. So I think you'll have fun with that. All right, Chris, VGDS. Tell me you've played a Panzer Dragon game.
That would be a negative. Never
Does he play games?
never played, and I don't have one, so I am out of this one.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, we'll try to get you at least get the Switch game eventually if you can. And yeah, that's it. I'll close out. I mean, I'll just my own thoughts on the series. Yeah, it's a great series. It's beautiful. It's very well done. And I mean, Bandana really hit it on the head with the rail shooter and the Star Fox comparison. It's very, very favorable. So yeah,
He's a visionary. I mean, what else can we say about how great Bandana is?
we'll just have you lead off every segment like with your thoughts, so we can.
Thank you. I've been waiting for someone to say it. I thought it would be rude if I said it.
Okay, Bandana, you can introduce the topic.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh my god, I'm coming up in the world. I'm a real boy today. All right. So I'm just introducing the topic, but I'm not. Okay, so. All right, so here we are in the next section. And this is a topic podcast. And today we're talking about upgrading games. And what goes into upgrading your games. Not your consoles, but the games themselves. So I'm going to turn this back to, let's see, I guess, Chris, you're going to take this. You were asking the questions.
Yes, I am.
Dan came up with the question.
Yes, he did.
Credit there.
Yes, he did.
But we want to hear from Dan. So let's turn this over to
Exactly. Chris. That's the reason why I am going to go through these questions, because I wanted Dan to actually talk about why he wrote these questions. So, question number 1. When is the best time to buy a game? When it first comes out, or wait for the Game of the Year edition? Bandana.
Whenever the fuck you want.
Hey, that's the best way to put it.
I know that's a terrible answer, but I've recognized by doing these podcasts, I come to this very nearly libertarian place with video game, and it's all up to you, man. Just you pick.
Yep.
There's games I want right when they come out, but then there's games I don't think I personally ever have it in my mind that a Game of the Year edition is going to come out later down the road, because some games don't get that treatment.
Exactly.
But there are some games I'm I'll wait for Black Friday to come.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, but
any first party Mario title, you wait until Black Friday.
Oh yeah, because Nintendo is famous for dropping prices.
Oh yeah.
So I think coming out this month is the new Pokemon Legends game. I'm getting that right when it comes out. There's some other stuff that I will just wait and see. So
Bones.
That's my answer.
Bones, your answer to that question?
Well, because it's worded this way, I can only have really one answer for it. If it was worded differently, because everyone that knows me now knows me well enough that I collect retro more than anything at all. And I'm not even up on anything new for PS5 or any of that new hunky-dory horse shit. So there is no waiting for the Game of the Year edition.
Yeah.
There is none of that. Like it's if I even have the newest console, that's if I even have it. Well, then maybe I'll get it when it first comes out. I won't wait for the end of the year, but I'm not even buying the new console, so there's no waiting for the Game of the Year edition. If you want to apply that to used games,
Go ahead, apply it to
care
used games.
whether it's a Game of the Year edition or a Black Label, say.
The question is more or less, do you wait or do you get it right away when it first comes out? That's pretty much what the question is. All right.
No, I'm not getting it.
All right. Chris.
Bandana hit the nail on the wall. I mean, he mentioned the Pokemon game. Yeah, I'm going to buy that day one. But lately, I can wait.
Okay. Dan.
Yeah, I mean, when I came up with this question, sometimes it depends on what it is. I mean, if it's a game I really want to play and I can't wait, then of course I'll get it on day one. But usually, some of my friends always make fun of me because they're like, "Why'd you buy that? Because this Game of the Year edition is coming out. You're gonna get all the characters. You don't have to pay for the downloadable content, the extra levels and stuff. You should just wait for the Game of the Year edition." Not all games get that treatment, like Bandana said, but a lot of the franchises or some certain companies, they tend to do that. The thing that comes to mind are like the Far Cry series, which I tend to like. They always come out with all the stuff comes out later on the Game of the Year edition. So those ones I do tend to wait for. And like Bandit also said, Black Friday they always go down in price. You can always get it cheaper later. So for the most part, yeah, I'll buy it whenever. I'll buy it if I really want it. I can't wait, but it does tend to. It tends to be better if you wait for the Game of the Year edition. To waste money on buying all this stuff for it.
Dizzy.
I'd say the middle gray area is kind of where you want to buy the game, unless the game drops and you're like a real hardcore about the game. You're not really gonna want to get that game the first day it's out. It's gonna be super expensive. I'd say wait a little bit unless you're really passionate about that series. And sometimes it might even take maybe like 10 to 15 years for a game to have a good price on it. Like if it's a hidden gem, people don't know about it, the price on it's going to be good until maybe like 10, 15 years down the line when people start hearing about that game, it starts getting popular, then that hidden gem is not hidden anymore. That price is going to be expensive. Marty McFly and Doc Brown would say video games are going to be the most expensive at the present time. So you gotta don't pick it at the present time, but somewhere in the middle is where you want to buy that game. Not right now, not when it comes out, somewhere in the middle, and it might be a few years after it comes out. Would be the best price, I'd say.
MC Shark 7.
Yeah, for me, I would say I would buy it the first day it comes out, only if I know that, like, say if it's a Nintendo game that doesn't drop in price, I'll get it day one, because I know sometimes if you buy games on Amazon on day one, you get 10% off. That's basically the cheapest you'll ever get it. But with other games that I know that I'll drop in price, I'll end up picking them up later. Especially if they have like downloaded content like Mortal Kombat. I'll wait for that to come out with like the gold edition or whatever with all the characters and all DLC on the disc. That's my answer.
Okay. Owazrim.
I generally wait because if you wait, pretty much every game's gonna drop somewhat in price, and my sweet spot is $20 and under. If it hits $20, it's solid. But if it's a game I really want, if I don't pick it up within the first couple of weeks, I'll end up waiting anyways, and I'll wait for a buy one get one or a buy two get one or something like that so you can bundle a couple games in. I mean, I wanted to pick up Dread Metroid Dread, and I haven't done it, and now I'm just like, all right, well, I'm gonna wait for a sale, and get it along with a couple other games like Super Mario Odyssey that I haven't picked up yet.
And Hobo?
So I'm kind of in like wait camp, but specifically wait for the premium version to go on sale, or the Game of the Year, what I call it. And I've gotten pretty lucky doing that because on Cyber Monday this last year, I got Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate for like $17.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I like to wait for the Game of the Year, and I like to wait for the new Game of the Year to go on sale, which will take a while. It will, but as we've said, sometimes it's better to wait, and sometimes I don't normally jump on any games brand new unless I die hard love that series. And off topic, I'm still pissed at Sony because I really want to play Rift Apart, but it's not on PS4. I don't have PS5, so screw you guys.
Take that.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Not you, the Sony. You guys are cool.
That's I'm leaving.
Oh, man. All right, next question. Do you ever buy DLC? Bandana.
Yes.
Bones.
Times.
Chris.
On games I enjoy.
Dan.
Yeah, for this question, I mean, I was getting at like, do you view that as like collectible stuff? Like, do you feel like you have to be a completist and like own every level, every outfit, every item, or are you just cool with like, you know, not spending money and just having the bare bones game? And so for that, again, it depends on the game, and I used to do that a lot when I was playing the games. I would try to buy everything just because I liked it, but I feel like I've gotten behind on a lot of the modern gaming. So all the new games that have come out, there's probably tons of downloaded content, and I don't ever buy any of it because I'm just not up to date with it.
Dizzy.
Yeah, same as Dan. I'm not up to date with all the DLC, and mostly I'm not usually on a modern console. Like the only modern console I have is my kid's Switch, and that's all physical games. Mostly I'm mostly all retro. I got a PS4, but the thing's not even hooked up, so I'm all retro. DLC's not what I'm used to now.
Mark.
Nah, I don't buy any DLC.
Owaz.
I think the last DLC I bought was for the original Mass Effect. So not really.
And Hobo.
Depends on the game, but like for like Saints of Row, yeah, obviously gonna buy all the DLC. But it, like the other said, just depends on the game, and I'm not buying any horse armor.
Next question. Do you mind greatest hits value versions of games, or do you prefer original black label versions? As a collector, is it important to have both variants? Bandana.
I am not a guy who goes for both variants unless it's a game I really love. There's a couple that I've gotten multiple variants of. I think the biggest one I have the most variants of is the Power Rangers Battle for the Grid game. And that's mainly just because I've been able to pick those up so cheap. But I will say for me, specifically on the PlayStation 1, 8 times out of 10, I would rather have the green label. Just because the green label is part of my love for the PlayStation 1, like being the hit, in my early teen years and being like, oh, I can go to the store. I've heard great things about this Twisted Metal series. $20? Cool. And so, I don't know, there's something just so cheesy about the green label on the PS1. They changed it to red for PS2 and beyond. I never really cared about those. Something about that color scheme is so cheesy and just so over the top. I just love it. So I love PS1 greatest hits.
Yeah, Twisted Metal, by the way, great games.
Yeah, and
Amen to that.
Yeah, and my copy of Crash, when I discovered Crash Bandicoot, was a $20 greatest hit version. And they would generally release the greatest hits when the sequel would come out. So if you were curious about a series, like, oh, I can go back and get the original. So I love having those in my collection. I am not a every cover kind of collector. So to me, it is not important to have both variants. And I will say, before I wrap up, like, I did get a recent green label of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, mainly because of Retro Mikey talking about that being a very unique version, and so
Nice.
I love the greatest hits stuff just because it has those fun stories for me for the PS1.
A lot of Tony Hawk.
Bones?
It's easy. No and no for me. I don't really care about either. I don't care if it's a greatest hits or a black label, and it does not matter to me as a collector to have both copies.
Chris?
It doesn't matter to me, but I think it's San Andreas. If you get the greatest hits, there's a difference in the version, so maybe that I would get the same or different. But like Bandana, I do have more than one label of Power Rangers just because they all look cool.
Dan?
Yeah, I think I'm weird because I actually like the original black version. I don't really like the when it says greatest hits or value hits or I don't, for some reason I don't like it when it has those on the label, so I tend not to collect them unless there are a couple examples like Chris just mentioned. There are some examples where the greatest hits version are better, or they fixed something or they included something like the original version didn't. So I might collect the greatest hits version in those cases, but I definitely don't feel the need to collect multiple versions of the same game in terms of the label.
Dizzy?
I actually prefer the OG black label. It's just like a lot more aesthetically pleasing looking at it. Like even right now, looking at my PS2 games, like the red ones pop out and they don't look too good. To be honest with you, to me it doesn't matter though. I always go for the cheaper game. Like if the game's gonna be cheaper with the red greatest hits, even if it's $1 or $2 cheaper, I'm gonna buy the cheaper version. So I do have a couple greatest hits like Scarface, Godfather, Resident Evil Code Veronica, but the black ones just look aesthetically pleasing together next to each other. But it's not like I'm going for a complete black label or anything. So, like I said, the cheaper one is the one I'm gonna buy, even by $1.
MT Shark?
For me, I don't mind the greatest hits and collector's versions of games. Whatever you get, as long as the game plays and I enjoy it, that's all I really collect or care about. But I will if I have like a game and I end up getting like the other variant, like I'll keep both of them, but I won't go out of my way to search for both of them.
Owas?
I say no and no. I'm not a completionist, and a lot of times it's just I just want to get the game so I can play it. So a small cosmetic change doesn't make any difference to it for me.
Hobo?
I kind of agree with others have said. I typically don't care. The only time I'd go out of my way for the special gamer's choice, whatever, is if it like makes an improvement or whatever. Like the Platinum Family hits of Sonic 06 on the Xbox 360 supposedly fixes a lot of the issues. So I'm not saying you should go for it, but if you do decide you somehow want Sonic 06 in your collection, A, what is wrong with you? And B, go for the Platinum Edition. And I don't feel the need to own multiple versions. I want to save some for somebody else.
I love how Hobo's so blunt. He's like, what's wrong with you?
The nicest way to hate on a game possible.
I know. Next question. Do you buy remastered versions of games for newer gen consoles? Is the point of upgrading from PS2 to PS3 to PS4 and 5? Bandana.
I have. I personally don't get too big into the resolution counting, mainly because I think that's stupid that that's in the console game space now. I think that's something that was better left in the PC world. But yeah, remastered versions of games, if there are games I really loved and wanted to check out on the newer consoles, or just have a copy because I loved it so much and I want to play it, have another place to play it, I definitely pick those up. Or if there was something I missed when it first went, I have no problem picking those up if they're generally priced right, which is kind of the hazy point. I don't think remasters are ever worth $60. But I did pick up Skyward Sword for $60 because Nintendo knows that Nintendo knows they've got the access to my wallet. They've got the garage door opener. So, but no, to me the point is just I want to play a game on this space and on this system. It's never, ooh, I can get 480p off PS2, but the PS4 version is 4K. Like that has no appeal to me whatsoever.
Bones.
I mean, my whole feelings on remastered games is a double-edged sword regardless, because I feel there is a place for it, but I think they overdo it to a huge degree, to the point where it's not good. I do it, but for the most part I don't, because I tend to keep the original stuff. I don't need to buy a remastered. They have to do something that's so good and make the game so much different for me to want to buy it. If it's just a remaster, I don't usually go pick it up.
But you're gonna get Skyward Sword.
I know, because they got their fucking greedy hands in my pocket too, the bastards.
Well, I mean, the Switch has such a great argument, but it's portable now. I can take the game I bought with me.
All right, Chris.
Just watch out for the drift.
Chris?
If I don't have the game and never played the game, then yes, I'll definitely do like the remastered. But I'll really only get it for the games I actually like. But if I find it cheap, yeah.
Dan?
Yeah, for this question, I think I was thinking that if I own the game for like PS2 and they come out with a PS3 and a PS4 version, like do I still feel the need to buy it again to be a completionist, or am I missing out on something if I don't buy it? But so I typically do rebuy stuff when they go cheap, just because I like to I like to have them on the newer console. I don't have to fire up my PS2 every time I want to play an old game. The point of upgrading to the newer consoles thing. This I was thinking when I was the case that comes to mind is like when I think I bought like Prince of Persia remastered on PS3, I think, and I played them all to death on PS2. And when I bought the remastered, I was like, I really don't see a difference. Like I don't think it looks any different. You know, did I just waste my money on buying this game again? Already played to death on PS2, so I don't think there's a huge point for visual, like unless there's a really significant upgrade. I think if you skip a generation, if you get from PS2 and they come out with PS4, maybe you'll start seeing some differences. But like, I don't necessarily agree that you need to upgrade a game every time when the new console comes out. So that's where I stand on that.
Dizzy?
Yeah, I'll buy a remaster if I really like the game. I'll buy the remaster, because each improvement on the new generation of console is gonna improve the game. Like I know the GTA trilogy just came out, definitive edition, and on the PS5, there's no way you're gonna have the long load times like on the PS2. The PS5 is gonna load that thing up fast, and that was a lot of the problem with the PS2 version of like Vice City. Was everything you did in that game was a load time. You know, you walk 5 feet and the game's loading. Hopefully, I haven't played it yet, but I'm hoping they did away with the load time, so they figured out on new consoles a way to like do a cutscene while it's loading to kind of kill the load time. And even like the Spyro trilogy on the Switch, like that was a game I loved back on PlayStation 1. So for me to be able to play that game nowadays on the Nintendo Switch with improved controls and better graphics, and it's even a way for me to like pass that same great game onto the next generation, onto my child, and let them play the same game I used to play back in the day on their system that they're gonna want to play on. Because my daughter's not gonna want to play on the PlayStation 1. You know, she has, but she'd rather play that on her modern console. So I definitely would buy remasters if it was a game I was really into, like those two games, GTA and Spyro.
And Mark?
Yeah, I'll buy a remastered version as long as it's for a game that appeals to me. If there's like games that I don't care for, I won't buy the remaster. But yeah, there's several ones I have bought in the past that I have enjoyed. But sometimes like if it goes from like a PS3 to PS4, sometimes I might not buy it. But if they have like additional features, then I'll buy it.
Oh, Was?
I rarely pick up remastered versions. I didn't pick up was it Mass Effect Legendary that had the original trilogy. I didn't see the point in it. All it is, a lot of times it's just more shiny, and I don't care about that.
Yeah, true.
Like when Destiny came out, I still had my 360, and so I bought it on that digitally, and then I let a buddy make his Xbox One Xbox One his home console, so he could download it. And it was 20 gigs bigger, and I was like, all it is textures. It was the exact same game, and I'm like, I'll take the smaller space, quicker load times, and it looked fine to me on the 360. And there's not much point to it. And you're making those small jumps in graphics. It's just like it doesn't really add anything. But if it increases loading times, that can be a huge thing.
Hobo?
Okay, so it's kind of I have kind of a foot in both camps because I know it's kind of blasphemous to bad talk Crash Bandicoot 1 on the PlayStation 1, but that game for its time was great. But nowadays it kind of does something. It was outdated nowadays, but then you got the Insane Trilogy, which has a lot of quality of life updates, and I'm all for that. But then you have Spyro, we mentioned, a great game. It improves controls. It looks prettier. They added so much polish and added some nice bells and whistles too. But then you got the SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom remake, where they added one or two new things, cleaned up the graphics, and that's it. They didn't redo the voices. Well, in their defense, they couldn't. Mermaid Man died, and they didn't redo the dialogue or anything. Well, the music. So if you're gonna remaster it, really, really go at it. Like, don't just stop with your with the graphics. Like, add more to the pot and make it more tempting. But if they do that kind of thing, then I'm all for it. But I also like the trilogies. Like, you have like the Devil May Cry trilogy or Jak and Daxter all in one collection. And maybe it doesn't add too much to the pot, but it's just convenient to have all three games in one place. So I've rambled, but that's basically my stance on this issue.
Next question. Do you like retro remakes? Example, Double Dragon, Streets of Rage, Ghosts and Goblins, on modern consoles, or stick with the original? Bandana.
So I'm still like trying to get clarity on this question exactly.
Dan, elaborate.
Well, go ahead, Ben. Yeah.
We talked about this a little bit before. Like, I don't. So Double Dragon, Neon. What Streets of Rage? I don't remember Streets of Rage being remade.
Streets of Rage 4 is.
Oh, okay. So.
Yeah. So it's not really a remake,
but like sequels in a modern games in a retro style.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah. I
mean, to me, it especially with on modern consoles, or stick with the original. Like, the answer to me is yes, like both. I have the Double Dragons on the Switch. I have Streets of Rage 4 on the Switch, but I also have Streets of Rage 1, 2, 3 on the Genesis. And and one thing I love about this current age of gaming is people doing all kinds of styles, and retro being retro styles coming back. So I do like retro remakes, retro demakes, retro restylings for modern consoles, but I also love the originals because that's why I love the new retro. So yes, I guess is my answer.
Both.
I'm going to use my one lifeline, and I'm just going to say I agree with Bandana for this question.
Hey, you can agree with me all the time.
Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer, Dizzy.
You're wrong. Next time.
You are correct, sir.
No, on a serious note, I really don't see a problem with continuing a line, doing the Streets of Rage 4, all that. That all has its place. I mean, for me as a collector, I don't tend to buy that. I didn't buy Streets of Rage 4. I probably would, but no, I tend to stick more with the original. But there is a place for it. So, I mean, I don't ever hate on anybody for having it.
Chris?
I agree with Bandana. I mean, the remakes, they're a lot cheaper than the original carts, so if I couldn't get it the original, I'm fine with the remake.
Dan?
Yeah, no, I mean, I like buying newer versions of the old games. I think what I was thinking about is like, I thought there might be somebody who like are really resistant to them taking an old game like Double Dragon with pixel graphics and making them look really cartoony and making look nice and fancy. Yeah,
I think I get more aggravated with like looking back when the PS1 and the N64 were coming out and people were going, "Oh, making 2D games is passé. We shouldn't do that anymore." And I would rather see them trying to interpret and still using 2D as a viable way of making games versus just like, "Oh, let's force it into 3D."
Yeah.
I think we were talking about Contra at one point, and one of the big downfalls of Contra is people tried to make those 3D games, and it didn't work in the 3D space.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so I like retro remakes if they're done well. I guess that's a good answer. And then I don't mind it. And I'm definitely not like a purist, and like, things have to be, always retro just for the sake of being retro. If they can improve it and make it still fun and retain the feel of the original, I'm fine with that.
Dizzy?
Yeah, Bandana kind of just had my same answer right there. Like, I like the remakes as long as they do the original justice. If they do like a complete 360 and it doesn't work, then it's not fun for anyone. Like you were talking about Contra, I've seen them do like PS1 and PS2 Contra games where nobody likes them. Like they did something completely different, and like nobody really liked it. I think recently, even on the PS4, they came out with a Contra game that nobody liked. Like if they change it from a run and gun to like a top down, and they do a 360 and change everything that we loved about the original, like I said, nobody likes that. So it just depends on what they do with it. The PS1 and PS2 Contras, like I see those games get no love just because they try to do something a little bit different, like barely a little bit different.
MC Shark?
Yeah, I like retro remakes as long as they stick to like the source material, and I also still stick with the original as well.
Owas?
I think they can be really great if, like it's been mentioned, if they're done right. Like I think Streets of Rage 4 is really nice, particularly because you have the ease of playing games with somebody online. So you've got a buddy and you can be, hey, let's play this game, especially if you've got Game Pass. Like, all right, we can, anything that comes out on Game Pass, multiple players, you can jump in and play. And that's what I did, but like I haven't gone back and played it. I think I'd rather go back and play the original. There's some novelty with the remakes, but for the most part, I'll go back and play the originals. And if there was super easy ways to play the originals online with people, I think I'd end up playing that more often.
And Hobo?
So I'm just gonna the short answer is shut up and take my money, and the long answer is kind of parroting what's been said. Yes, if I'm all for it if it's done right, but on that note, I am stoked for Shredder's Revenge.
Good example.
Yeah.
All right, next question. How many times will you buy the same game on a different console? Pac-Man and Super Mario Brothers are two examples. Bandana?
How many times? I mean, there are definitely some games I've done that multiple times. I can't even imagine how many copies of Street Fighter 2 I have across various platforms.
And that's just increasing and increasing.
And in collections. So yeah, I've definitely done it. I can say there are examples I didn't do, like Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 on PS4 and Xbox One. I did not do those, even though I love that series, because those were just really ports. They weren't even really enhanced in any way other than higher resolutions. So there, yeah, and I'm once again looking at Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, which I have 5 times on one system. Yeah,
A little obsessed, a little bit.
games. There are definitely games I've done that. Fighting games, I think, are a prime example because you come back to when they add the characters and things like that, and put looking at Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Street Fighter 2, like on the Super Nintendo, like that was essentially DLC. So, yeah.
But you good?
Many times, I would say,
Oh.
if it's a game that's special to me.
Bones.
Oh, I'd like to say that no, I don't do that shit.
But you're lying.
That'd be a fucking lie and a half. I mean, hell, I've got the original Doom on at least 7 different consoles. I think I'm missing the Game Boy Advance Doom. I have Doom 2, but I don't have Doom on it. That's not counting the PC one I have. And then that's just strictly Doom, the original Doom. Not Final Doom, none of the other ones. It's just the original one. I have 7 copies at least of that shit. So yeah, I do collect, but that literally is my favorite game of all time. So for me to collect multiples, that game has to have a real sweet spot in my heart for me to buy that many copies of it. The only other games like that I could do that would be like Mario 3. I bought a Super Mario Brothers 3 remix because I love Mario 3 that much. I wanted that remix one, which is just a hack, but yeah, like it has to have some real good meaning for me to buy multiples of something.
Chris?
I'm going with Bones. I have multiple copies of Doom myself. I even had it on my iPod, but yeah, I'll buy it. I'll do it way too much.
Dad?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to buy the same game multiple times, just mainly just for convenience. Though, like if I'm on a modern console, I'll have the game handy, so if I want to play it. So rather than digging out the old game and firing up the old console, I always use the same example, like Namco Museum. I mean, this is like we're talking like Pac-Man and all the Galaga and all those old games, and I think I have that. I bought that game so many times on all the different consoles that collection because I just thought, well, someday I might want to play Pac-Man and I'll have it handy. So I probably have that like 10 times now. I've bought that game. And another game is like Resident Evil 4. They keep bringing that. It's a great game for sure, but they keep bringing out every time they have a new console, they want to bring out that game, and I end up buying it. I mean, sometimes like with the Wii, it's like, oh, they have Wii controls now, so that but and whatnot. At one point they're like, oh, it's now in HD, graphics, and so those type of things I do tend to buy again and again for those reasons.
Dizzy?
I think a lot of gamers like me like to buy the same game on more than one console, just to have to play it on an updated console. Think a lot of those NES games. Like, think of the controller. It was technically made for like a little kid's hand, so you're like an adult playing on this small NES controller, a rectangle at that. After a while, those edges start to hurt your fingers. If I could play that same NES game on a Nintendo Switch with analog controllers, joystick, it just makes it a lot easier. And like I said, holding that rectangle hurts after a while, and it's just more convenient. A lot of people don't have a CRT anymore, so if I'm able to play the game that I love on a HD TV, that I'm using all the time, where I don't have to disconnect it and plug in AV cords, I could keep my same HDMI cord and switch connected and just play right there. It's more convenient. And I do the same thing with other stuff, like movies that I love. I collect the same movie VHS. I might have the DVD. I might have the Blu-ray. Like, it just makes it a lot easier. If I really like that movie, I'm gonna want to watch it on the most updated way I'm able to, with the, the clearest reception. So, yeah, I do the same thing with video games. If I love it, I want to play it on a modern console like GTA. I want to play that thing on either the Switch or the PS4 eventually, because like that's my favorite. That's my favorite game. So yeah, I think that's the reason we buy that same game over and over, make it more convenient. Play it on the TV that you're looking at right now, the HDMI, and you get to relive the same memories over and over, but just in HDMI, high def.
MT Shark.
Yeah, there's several games that I keep buying the same game on several consoles, mainly just because I get it on an upgraded console, and it's cool to see like the differences between the older versions and the newer versions, and even on like the same similar system, like if it's on a Super Nintendo, I'll also get it on a Genesis to see like the differences as well. And if it's a game that I really like, I'll just buy for even consoles I don't even own just to have it in the collection.
OWAS.
Like a quick answer is as many times as I want until I get tired of it.
There you go. Yeah.
Perfect
Once
answer.
I get to that
Agreed.
point, probably would take a break for a little bit and then play it again. And buy it for the next one.
Agreed.
It's just it's been touched on. It's convenient to buy it on a new console because that's one that you've got hooked up, especially like your main TV, and you don't want to necessarily go into your gaming room or whatever, or your small TV that you got set aside in some corner because that's all the space you've got. But you also want to be able to support the original creators of the product and say, hey, there is still a market for this, so keep doing this, but hopefully add more to it, because I mean the Genesis collection has been released how many times?
Sure. Hobo.
Alright, so I'm kind of I'm guilty of this from time to time. No, there's only two reasons why I would. Either because there's like a significant difference between the two. Take, for example, Genesis and SNES versions of Aladdin. Or I have a major stiffy for the game. and I'm just going to make a small confession here. I own every single retail version of Shovel Knight except for the Wii version. I've got the PS4 and by proxy PS3 and PS Vita, the Xbox One, the PC, and the 3DS. That game is fantastic. It's one of my all-time favorite games ever, and I could ramble on, but that's not what we're here to talk about. But yeah, I'll do it sometime is what I'm saying.
Next question. Any games you could think of need a remake or update? Can you think of a game that was ahead of its time that would be better today? Bandana.
All right, so I think I want to say, like, before us to get started in this, like, Final Fantasy VII Remake actually, to me, is one of the first games that actually is a remake. Like, it's a new game that is just looking back to the past. Like, there's not a lot of, like, gameplay that is from the original there. So when I think of actually remaking a game, there's a couple, and I think, to me, I would love to see Chrono Cross remade. I think it was a little bit ahead of its time for its day, but I would love to see them try another attempt at Chrono Cross, and then maybe a sequel after that. Don't touch Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is perfect the way it is, but Chrono Cross, I think, would be a really good game to remake.
Bones.
Honestly, there's only one thing I'd like to see. I'd like to see them redo a Steel Battalion.
Oh, that's a nice beefy controller, and once you get a hang of it, it's so much fun.
I would love to see what they could do with one of them nowadays.
It would be interesting, yeah.
Chris.
I would like for them to remake WWF No Mercy. Just newer graphics. That game Actually, no, I take that back. Not No Mercy. WF 2000. I love that game. I play that a lot on my N64. I'd like to see that remade, just with the better graphics.
Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I have to go back to Bandana again and agree with him about Final Fantasy. I think when I came up with this question, that was in my mind, how Final Fantasy VII on the PS1 was great, but I always felt like it still kind of didn't look that great to me because it was very polygony. And I was thinking, I was like, man, this story is really good, but I think it'd be better once you can actually, have gameplay that matches like the cutscenes in that movie and in the game, and that's what Final Fantasy VII remake is basically. It's all that I was ever wanted, many years ago. And along those lines, I like Final Fantasy VI better than 7, so I would hope they would ever go back and do the previous game in the same way. And then other games I think that are good candidates are like PS1 games, because they were very blocky and polygony at the time. If they could redo those now, one game in particular that comes to mind was like Fear Effect. I liked that game a lot back in the day, and but it was very blocky and had those tank controls it was those didn't control that great. So I always thought in a few years, if they did this a few years later, it'd be a lot better. So games from that era I think would be good candidates to redo today.
Dizzy.
All right, well, hear me out on this one. We need a new Pokemon Snap Light Gun Edition. So, we could just use those little dudes as target practice.
I'm
I
down
never
for
liked
that, Dizzy.
Pokemon. I never liked Pokemon, but I used to like that Pokemon Snap on 64. So, add a light gun and take my money, Nintendo.
Only
What
if you
did
shoot
I-
the dog from Duck Hunt.
Go sit in the corner and think about what you just said.
We need it. Take my money. I want it.
MT Shark.
Yeah, I would think a lot of the horror games on PS2 needing a remake would be pretty neat, like Haunting Ground and QAnon and all the rest of the super expensive horror games would be pretty good, and that way I can actually play them instead of just watching a let's play of YouTube to enjoy the game.
Owaz.
I agree with the Steel Battalion. I was talking with a buddy actually earlier today and telling him about it. I was like, if I could get that thing to work on the PC, there's so many mech games and flight sim games that would be so fun with that controller. But
Yeah.
one that I think could use a update and was ahead of its time is Starflight, that was released on the Sega Genesis. I think that's the only console it was released on. It was released across several computers, because I played through it on a Mac with a buddy, and I played it on a DOS machine, and then I played it on the Commodore 64. And that's a game that inspired a lot of, I think, of the modern games that we like Mass Effect, because it was open world. You could upgrade your crew. You went through, I think there were several hundred planets that you could explore if you had the funds to upgrade your ship and go out and defend or fight off the bad guys. But another one I'd like to see upgraded would be the original Phantasy Star series. They did the original one for the Switch, and so I'd like those quality of life improvements taken over to all of the other original 16-bit titles.
And Hobo.
Okay, so this is gonna be kind of an oddball choice. I mean, what's new there? I'm gonna guess none of you have heard of the game Monster Madness Grave Danger on the PS3. Well, that game, I can't say that it's ahead of its time. It really wasn't, but it was a gauntlet style game. It's like a top down beat 'em up type thing. You had these 4 teenagers. You had the nerd, the goth, the popular, and the skater. And it was actually inspired by Zombies Ate My Neighbors. And I think that game does not get the love it deserves. And I think it could work in a, bring it back. You could have your online co-op, or you could have your couch co-op. And I really think that kind of, it's a little off topic, I realize, but I can't really think of any games that are ahead of their time. Although I do think Conker's Bad Fur Day really stands out from the crowd, and I think I'd like to see them. I have tried to make Conker sequels, they just never work, but bring Conquer back
nice.
and Monster Madness. And I just got the game today. I love that game.
And the final question. Limited run releasing old games, Star Wars, Shantae, etc. to play on old consoles. Good or bad? Bandana.
I think it's actually a pretty good thing.
Bones? Go ahead. Go ahead, Bandana.
No, I think this is... It's one of the ways to keep physical media going forward, because I think modern consoles are eventually going to just fully ditch digital, so I think we're going to see something akin to what the music industry has done, where vinyl has become the primary physical. I think retro is going to become the primary physical.
Do you worry about that affecting the value of games? So, like, the more copies of this floating around decreases the value of...
So the best case example, I think, for that right now is Shantae. I mean, Limited Run released a copy of the original Shantae on Game Boy Color. From what I saw, it didn't impact the price of the original release. So, no, I mean, because if you look at the vinyl collectors, like, there are people that want specific pressings from a specific place, and
Yep.
also, and hear me out, this is going to be a harsher opinion. Don't get into video game collecting because you can't handle the stock market. Like, don't do that. Like, I don't know, like, this is not a good way to save money. This is not a good way to accrue interest. If that's what you're into, go learn how to do stocks. Buy video games because you want to play them.
What a
Amen.
great name.
So, that's my little take on that.
Bones?
Well, I'll leave this one pretty short and sweet. I'm not going to have it like a bashing of Limited Run. I don't really care about them. I don't buy Limited Run. I kind of stay away from them for the most part. I only have like one game. I do see a good use of releasing old games, but I feel like it has to have a good purpose behind it being released. They've made some choices with some releases, which I'm not going to go over them. Zombies Hit My Neighbors, but or that wasn't even from them. Or was that? Dan, was
Yeah,
that?
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
That was Limited Run too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of companies out there that are just releasing older games that have no point of being released. They're still readily available. You can get them for under $20, some of them, and you're seeing them being made for what purpose, I don't really know. Those are stupid. But games that are going to be hard to find, I feel that anything that would be classified as a disc rot console could be classified as something they could be definitely pushing harder for. All Sega Saturn style stuff. Anything along those lines. I feel like there's a good use for that, but where there's good, there's going to be bad. So that's pretty much where I feel it's going to be at.
Chris?
If Limited Run was easier to get, I would get them, but I mean, I got ones today because they're available through GameStop. I don't think they were Limited Run games, but it was still the Star Wars games, and I know they were on Limited Run. So, if they're easier, yes, I know Best Buy sells them, and I'll buy them there. But I bought one game, and I just don't want to wait. If I buy something, I want it now.
Dan?
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm a big Limited Run supporter, but so, I mean, of course, I do buy their re-releases of old games. I think it's a good thing, definitely, for some of these games that are really insane in cost to get the original. This is definitely opening up an opportunity for newer newer generations to own this at a reasonable cost. So I think that's a good thing, and lets more people play the games. I agree that some of their choices, like some of the games people are complaining that weren't rare to begin with, so why are they bothering to re-release it now? But to each his own, and I don't see much downside to it. So I mean, I like to have them as backups as well. There's more copies to play on my original hardware, so that's a good thing.
Come on now.
Dizzy?
I say it's a good thing because this is really made just for us retro old school gamers. Let's be honest. These game devs could more easily release these games on a modern console like Switch or PS5 with the 8-bit graphics. The fact that it's on a cart that can't be played on a modern console that can only be played on the OG NES. To me that says a lot. That says that game is specifically made for us old school gamers. So I'd say it's a good thing. It might be a cash grab sometimes, but to me it's working for us old school retro gamers. So I'd say it's good.
MT Shark.
Yeah, I think this is a good thing, mainly because like what other people have said already is that the games that normally are super expensive you can get pretty cheap and enjoy to play the game. But then there are games that they have released that are basically the same price as like the original. Then makes sense just to buy the original copy and not go with limited run. But I know there's other people that collect variants, so they end up buying both copies anyway. So either way, I think it's a good idea that they do it.
Oh, Was.
I think it's both. It's good because, like I said, it can get into hands of people that want to play it, but they're also selling it as a way, almost like an investment. Because okay, we're going to release the normal version, but then we're going to have these other versions that are going to have these special, if it has an LP or has a soundtrack or if it has a figure, or whatever. And so now they're trying to make it. They're trying to make them so that they're trying to introduce a different kind of scarcity within something that may already be scarce. And and even if they do pre-orders, there's only a limited number of those pre-orders, and so they're just selling the limited quantity before they've even made them. And it can get frustrating because if you're actually trying to buy one, I haven't bought anything from Limited Run or any of the other releases. But in some ways, they release some games that would not have a physical copy otherwise. And in those regards, I think it's great.
And Hobo?
I'm kind of agreed. It could be a double-edged sword because, like, I own a limited run games Scott Pilgrim complete edition, and that game is really hard to get. Like, especially when I wasn't able to buy PS3 online games when they took that down, so I never got to play it when I was on the PS3. But now with this, I have it, and that's more. It's mine. Like, it's in my collection, and if it gets taken off the digital store, I still have my physical cartridge. I can load up and play. And I personally have not shopped at limited run games. It's not out of disinterest, it's just they haven't released that one game that I just gotta have. And you want an art book, you want a fig, you want a soundtrack, those little bells and whistles, cool. If that's tempting enough, I'll take the bait. But I just want to play the game, and like I am kind of normally opposed to digital games because, like we've seen, take them down, gone for good, sucks for you. Whereas physical, you can still load it and play it, but lately, I've kind of gone on for digital games too, just for the convenience of okay, I can't lose the cartridge if it's saved into my system type thing. But long story short, I kind of can see both sides of the argument. And the moment limited run games drops my must-have game, they can just have my whole wallet.
All right. Well, that concludes the questions. Any comments you guys want to make or anything, let me know.
Talking about the greatest hits games earlier, Chris, has anybody done a sleeve for a greatest hits PS2 game?
No.
Or like a PS1 greatest hits?
No, not that I can remember. No, I don't think so.
So really everybody's sticking to the original labels then?
Yeah, Black Label, usually.
Unless there's a significant difference.
Yeah. All right, Dan.
All right. Here's our. I guess is this our last segment, or does something after this? New segment we instituted recently. Podcast pickups. It's not every podcast, but every so often we'll have one. This is just some games that I've picked up based on the stuff we talk about in our podcast, and just giving an update about what they are and how much what you can expect to pay for them these days, just in case if anybody else is listening out there and finds something that we're talking about interesting and are looking for them. Here in this picture, there's 4 games that I've picked up since our last segment on this. And let's start off with Mutant Football League. Actually, Dizzy, you mentioned that to us.
Remember that one?
Yeah, you mentioned that they made a remake of this game. This is the Mutant League Football has come up a couple times in our podcast. It was back in number 41. It was Everything Retro's Game of the Month, actually, and then 42 Sleeve Talk. I think this is where it came up. It was also featured in one of the segments, and yeah, this game is actually very affordable. You can get it for less than $20 on Amazon for both Xbox and PS4. Short Order Explode. This was a game that was in the Guess That Box Art segment, and it stumped me. I didn't know what it was. And that was number 4, podcast 47 with Quesadilla Padilla.
Do you remember who guessed that box art?
That was Bandana Gamer.
And I realized I didn't have this game, so I went out and tried to grab it. And again, I got it off the Amazon Marketplace for $24, complete in box. Not bad. It's a Power Pad game, so that's something I was like, hey, I don't really have any Power Pad games. And then for Flintstones, we've talked about Flintstones a few times. Actually, Hobo, that we talked about, it was a Flintstones game was was in the Leave It or Leave It segment during your podcast, and then in podcast 48, it was actually the franchise of the month, and we went through the whole list and covered all the Flintstone games, and there were a couple. I said at the time I had no Flintstone games, and 2 of them jumped out at me in particular. The Flintstones movie game for SNES. It was mentioned how it had goofy graphics with the movie actor faces on there, so that intrigued me. So I went out and hunted down a copy on eBay for $63. And the Genesis version, though it's expensive, it costs $90, but that's generally considered probably one of the better Flintstone games in the whole franchise as a platformer. And so as a fan of the Genesis in general, I wanted to go and try to find that copy. So I got that for $90. So yeah, go ahead.
I basically, you can be mad at me if you want. I found that SNES Flintstones game for $20 on Mercari, granted with just the cartridge. And I have played that Genesis game on emulators. I would like to try and get a copy if I can, but yeah, geesh.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you can find them for cheaper, yeah, that's great. That wasn't the first time that's happened, right, Bandana, with Halo?
Halo was a bomb.
I wasn't gonna bring that up.
Anybody else pick up anything because they heard something on the podcast, or no? Probably not, right?
No.
I feel like I have, but I'm just at this point in time, I can't remember what.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I mean, this segment.
I could bring up Halo 2600 again.
Yeah, I mean, that was a podcast pickup. But this segment will probably be most likely in most of the topic ones, unless we do multiple topics. But anytime you guys say, hey, I bought this because I listened to the podcast, just kind of keep it in mind, so that way you can come on and talk about it.
Okay.
All right, next segment. This is something new that I just started, just to get a feel for what you guys think. And this is 3D or no. Would you prefer these games to be 3D popped, is basically what it is. All right, so the first game is for the Wii. Bandana, 3D or no? No? Bones.
Nah.
Honestly, I think that would probably look good 3D, but nah, I'd skip it.
Chris.
I think it would look cool, but no, I never even heard of the game.
Dan.
It's not that good.
I like this cover. I think it's pretty intriguing, so I think it's a good candidate for 3D.
Dizzy.
I think I said it last time, but 3D with the background holographic.
MT Shark.
Yeah, I think that's what would be pretty neat with 3D popped.
Owaz.
I think it would look really cool pop because you could have the hand sticking out further than everything else, and
Exactly.
it might be. And if you did that, according to what Hobo said, it might be better than the game itself.
It probably 100% will be probably better than the game itself. Hobo.
Honestly, it could go either way. If you flip the coin, I land on its edge, so I'm the neutral party, I guess.
All right, next game is Diablo for the PlayStation. Bandana, yay and nay.
I think talking about like that layering effect, like if you could get those front horns out a little bit further off the face of the
Definitely.
devil, I think that would be, if you layered it, it would look really good.
Bones.
Of course, I'd do that one.
Chris.
I would do that one, and I just want to throw in a note. I actually picked up this game, but on the computer at the thrift store yesterday.
Nice.
Oh, good.
Nice indeed.
Damn.
Does it have the same cover?
Let me get back to you on that.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it actually. I think it does. It's close.
You could 3D pop a PC game there, Chris.
Dan.
Sure. Yeah. This is a pretty good game. I would 3D pop it.
Dizzy.
3D pop with the devil Ned Flanders.
MT Shark.
Yeah, I think this would be cool 3D popped.
Owaz.
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome 3D popped. I mean, I played a ton of this on. It was on the PC. Played enough of it at one time that the ISP called home and wanted to make sure that someone who was actually using the internet wasn't leaving it on all day.
Holy shit.
Wow.
It was a dial-up. Apparently, it's important.
Damn.
Wow. Hobo.
Honestly, if you were to like have this as a yes, but specifically for like Halloween, because that would probably scare some little children.
All right, the last one, Moon Patrol for the 2600. Bandana. Bones. What'd you say, Bones? Nah, okay. Dan.
No, I'm not particularly fan of this art.
Dizzy.
Leave everything flat, just the 2600 popped out.
MT Shark.
Yeah, I'll skip this one.
Owaz.
I think pop it. You could have the UFO in the front pop out, have the gun in the front pop out, and maybe a set of the tires pop out as well. And I think it could look pretty cool, and it's a really fun game.
Hobo.
I'm gonna pass on this one. Just leave it.
Chris, you got an opinion or what?
Oh. He posted.
Oh, there he goes.
Alright,
There he goes.
I was posting the picture. Let me look at it again.
Moon Patrol for 2600. Okay.
No,
All right.
I won't. Yeah, no. Sorry.
All right. Final segment. Game of the month. Bandana.
Neo Geo Pocket Collection for the Nintendo Switch.
Bones.
Final Doom.
Chris.
I've been playing actually Doom as well.
Dan.
Forza Horizon 5. That's giving me a lot of reasons.
Choice.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first time I turned my Xbox on for months.
Dizzy.
Vice City with the chainsaw controller.
That would be cool.
MT Shark 7.
Guitar Hero World Tour.
Owaz.
Nice.
Starflight for the Genesis. If you play it blind, you'll have a lot of fun, and you'll have a lot of hours to put into it too.
Hobo.
Dragon Quest Heroes 2 on the PS4.
And I'll go with Mutant League Football. All right, that concludes the podcast. Thank you all for joining in. I hope to see all you back eventually at some time.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Good
Have a
night.
good night or
enjoyed
good
it.
morning, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please,
All right.
please like, comment, and subscribe. As always, don't blow, just sleeve.
Saber-tooth tiger.
Later.
Have a good one, everybody.
Triceratops. Triceratops.
Hate you all.
Good night, everybody.